So you've decided to live stream conversations with B2B marketers about what truly matters to building scalable, sustainable, and substantial marketing growth. In today's episode, what are the need-to-knows in a live stream production? What are the mistakes that B2B marketers make with live streaming? And our top 3 tips for making an impact with live streams. I'm joined today by Leo Falasca, a native of Brazil and a keen kayaker. Welcome, Leo.
Thank you, Sam. It's great to be here and to see you.
Right. So Leo has a background in theatre production as well as B2B marketing, particularly using HubSpot. And as someone that's used to being behind the camera, there's a lot that goes on in the background to make any type of video production or live stream work well. I guess, Leo, thinking about an example or situation that you've been in terms of live theatre production, what were the lessons that you learnt there that you bring to video production and in particular live streaming?
Well, I'd say it's all about anticipation. Imagine theatre production would be like a year at least anticipation before I started getting rehearsals done and everything ready. So for me, it all comes to that. It's about being prepared, making sure you have a plan and that it's going to work. Sometimes it's overwhelming, I'd say, because you're trying to do everything, like be the star, being behind the camera, being in front of the camera, preparing the setup and everything else. But if you prepare and anticipate, you will have a plan that actually can work. Sometimes what I usually see nowadays is that people think that going live on YouTube or on Instagram, for example, seems to be an easy task. I've had clients before that said that they were like, oh my God, this is so hard because I would never imagine that something or this and that would happen. And that's all because they were not prepared or they wouldn't have the experience necessary. So first thing, test, see what's necessary, rehearse, make changes, adapt, adequate, everything. At some point it will feel natural. Sometimes it might feel boring because you will do that so many times that it will be, I'm tired of it already. But the viewers will never have that same feeling because for them it's going to be the first time they are seeing that. So it's still going to be an amazing experience for them. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's that rehearse, if there's kind of a takeaway from it. And I think for many of us that are used to making presentations in person, we don't put enough emphasis on preparation and rehearsals. So the best live events, in-person live events that I've attended, it's quite clear that there has been rehearsals. You know, people know where to stand, they know what to say, they know in what order they're going to say those things. And I think that is something that it's very easy to kind of overlook or think past, if you like. Oh, I don't need that level of preparation. And I guess to me, that's what theatre teaches you. You know, there's the concept of blocking. People know where they need to be at a given moment in time. They know what cues they're looking for. All of those things are kind of important to build into your live stream.
Yeah, it is staged actually, right? That's what it means at the end. It's a stage show, right? And that's the key, I think, because even though you're trying to be natural all the time, and it will come across as natural, but because you know what to do and you know what's going to happen, so you are in charge of it.
Yeah, so let's get into some of the typical mistakes we see B2B marketers making around live streaming. And I guess these are applicable for any type of live stream. You know, to you, Leo, why are live streams more like running an event with a speaker on stage and in front of a live audience?
Well, for the experienced ones, this might seem like a simple task because you have to be there anyway, right? But say you're new to this and you have tried it once or twice, what will you notice? That every time you try it, something goes wrong and then you have to learn how to fix it. Problem is you're live and there's no room for mistakes, right? Remember, you're on a stage, you're trying to be natural, so how can you take control of that? And the tie here between the two situations is that when you have a producer, whether you're experienced or not, all you have to do is to be the star. So experienced producers and directors are used to thinking over the process and ready to get all the setup done so that the show goes smoothly and well. So if you're in front of an audience of a camera, all you have to do is know your part and leave the rest for the production crew.
Yeah, I suppose that's the key thing is there's no difference to being in front of the camera in a live stream situation and being in front of an audience. And so it's easy when you can't see the people in the audience to think that there's no one out there, but in fact, there really are people out there if it's going to be a success. So I guess mistake number one is not having a producer. Probably at its most simple, when you're doing this on a small scale and trying it for the first time, number one thing is not actually having a producer. And I guess I've also noticed as part of the pandemic, when everyone was forced to do remote productions, there's a general lack of preparedness for the live environment. And in other words, there's a tendency to leave or to treat a live stream as just another internal meeting. And, if you've ever been in internal meetings, there's always that first 5 minutes where people are faffing around trying to get the tech to work. And you're going to lose your audience in that 5 minutes. So you have to be prepared to go live at the exact moment that you said you were going to go live, so you don't lose that audience, and you need to be prepared. And I guess that's mistake number one. Yeah, okay. So going on to the next one, what have you seen, Leo, in terms of the technical side of things, around playing video in a live stream, or sound, or lighting, or camera setup? Typically these are things that a lack of preparation and not having a producer tends to be gotten wrong, if you like.
This is something very interesting, Sam, because technology nowadays has made everything seem easy, right? I mean, people have cameras on their phones and they automatically adjust everything perfectly. Well, I'd say that's wrong. The problem is that all the technology doesn't come with neither a technical nor a creative manual. Yeah. So it's not just about pointing the camera to the subject. Technical aspect is sound and lighting are key when it comes to videography, and auto settings are not enough. So at least an intermediate knowledge on how to operate a camera, how to adjust and compensate light and calibrate the sound, and on top of those making sure the location and background will be adequate, are necessary skills for those directing and producing a live stream.
So mistake number two is treating a live stream just like a regular business meeting. It comes across as a little amateurish, and you stand to lose your audience's attention. Another mistake that we've observed is forgetting the medium that you're working in. So making your people too small on screen or your slides too big. Leo, this is kind of a classic issue with Zoom, where the presenter is this tiny little thumbnail in the bottom right-hand corner. And it probably means that your slides also might be unreadable on a small phone screen. And it's only after the fact that you've made your presentation or your live stream presentation that you realize that your message is getting lost and it's all too dense. So I guess I'm interested in your experience around the live stream technology and the types of platforms, if you like, that are good for this type of presentation.
Sure, I totally agree with you. Again, I would say that's technology trying to solve all the problems. It's amazing to have a platform like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or even Skype that facilitate meetings to happen. But as you said, live streaming is much more than a business meeting. You might want to present slides, videos, or even polls and play games with your audience, right? For that, you have to know what options are out there when it comes to platforms that can enable the producer to deliver all that effectively. So StreamYard is a good example of that, I would say. It's a platform where you can control slides, videos, sound, and external video sources all separately, and still make sure that what you decide to show on your screen is aesthetically beautiful. Also, it integrates with most social platforms out there, which is a plus for those relying on their social media engagement.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the things that, as we've researched this particular technology, there are different ways in which to connect in with different platforms. And one of the advantages of StreamYard is that it works out of the box with the likes of Facebook, LinkedIn. You don't need a separate piece of software in order to integrate with or live stream to those platforms. I guess one of the things that we found early on in terms of live streaming and the use of StreamYard is thinking about how to use your slides differently. In other words, that you put fewer words onto your slides, make them bigger, and also balance out the size of the people speaking to the messages that you're trying to put in front of them. Any thoughts on that process and the sort of experimentation and iteration that we went through?
There's a study that says that the more the viewer's eyes move around the screen, the more attention they will be able to pay to what it is that they are seeing. So when it comes to editing, for example, I try to keep the focus and the subject of the video on different areas of the screen so that I'm sure the person watching it is like looking around and their eyes are moving, because that will help. First, it helps them to stay awake, if that's the point, if they are not feeling like as awake as they should be. Mainly if you look up, right? Studies also say and prove that the more you look up, the more you tend to be alert. So those are kind of tricks that we can use while thinking of what are we trying to achieve with our streaming or our video or our presentation, right? More than just the appearance or the size of text, is also where it's going to be placed and how it's going to look. So it's also good to have some sort of design knowledge or somebody to help in this area as well. So mainly if you're a business trying to deliver a message, right, you want to make sure it's all on brand and your story is being told according to your business proposition.
Yeah. Okay, and so in other words, mistake number 3 is not being prepared with the right streaming software or suite of software, and also not thinking about the best way to communicate that message on small screens and to keep an audience's attention in that medium. So to your points around creating some movement, keeping people engaged with the content and keeping their eyes moving effectively. So let's get into some of the top tips. And I guess this is where, theatre production is key. what's your recommendation here, Leo, in terms of, top tips?
First of all, get a producer, of course. Remember, the gear is important, but knowing how to use it is fundamental. At the end, your streaming, your video, or whatever it is you're doing is your stage, right? You have to be there, but somebody has to take care of it. In terms of cameras, Sony series and the Panasonic Lumix series, great options, or even the Canon simple Rebel series cameras like the T8i, great options for those looking to stream in 4K or Full HD if preferable. When it comes to lighting, I'd say smart lights are my favorite these days, mainly if you have to produce live streams remotely, so you don't necessarily have to be at the location to adjust all the lights. You can even preset scenes for each type of content you're creating. The Elgato lights are great, and you can also equip your studio with smart lights that pair through Grid Connect. You'll be able to control them from Google or Alexa, which I love.
Yeah, so we'll put references to these different suggested lights and cameras in the description below.
So, to start with, a good set of mics would be fundamental. That could include Boya lapels. They can be wireless as well and deliver good sound quality. If a visible mic is not the issue, visible on camera is not an issue for you, then go for a Yeti, Shure, Rode, or the Elgato mics are great options too. If you're dealing with multiple cameras, then you will need at least a live stream switcher like the A10 Mini. An option too is also to have a sound mixer. It could be useful if you're dealing with multiple sound inputs. Different screens or teleprompters to help you follow your scripts could be helpful, and they could all also be virtual software, but that would demand more people to operate them. Ideally, you would want to have all the controllers separately for easier access, I would recommend.
And I guess that's another dimension too, is the software that you're using in terms of the presentation software. So we'll put links below, as I've already mentioned, around lighting, cameras and sound, as well as how to stage your presentation. I guess next is how you set all of this up and manage the production.
Yeah, that's the fun part, I'd say, making sure that you have everything to make that project come out of the paper and be able to set up your mini studio, your recording room, or your home stage, no matter how you call it. It's going to be your window to the world where all your creativity will follow through. As I mentioned earlier, anticipation is key, so make sure you have everything you need and the people you need to assist you with delivering your piece of work. And most importantly, test and practice it.
Yeah, and rehearse. It's kind of like prepare. And I guess lastly, the software and hardware to stream with. So we'd recommend StreamYard for a couple of reasons. It connects straight into LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, etc. And there's no mucking about like when you're using OBS, which is a piece of streaming software that you have to use as an interface. So another thing that it's worthwhile to think about the type of presentation slide tools that or the slideware that you're using. So there's kind of the choice between Google Slides, PowerPoint, and Keynote on Apple. And I think what we've found is that Google Slides is actually the most useful way to make your presentation, in as much as it enables multiple people to control the slides, which is something that kind of can easily be overlooked, is that if you're going to present slides, sometimes you want to be able to progress them yourself as the presenter, and sometimes you want your producer to forward those slides or move you forward. But either way, you want to be able to have dual control and enable the producer to be able to keep up with what it is that you're talking to and be clear about what needs to go up on screen.
Yes, something else that Google Slides allows the user to do is that if it's being shared from a Chrome window, sound will also be able to come through to your streaming. So if your presentation, or if it is a video that you're presenting from those slides, it will enable you to add the audio as part of the presentation as well.
So I guess to sum up, kind of the devil is in the detail with live streaming. And, just like theatre production, there are multiple dimensions to it. And there are a lot of things to anticipate in terms of A, what could go wrong, and B, what you need to do and in what order. So it's definitely worthwhile getting a producer, planning out what you're going to do, and rehearse. Anything you'd add to that, Leo?
No, that's well said. It's basically practice it.
So part of what we'll do is develop a guide here, like a cheat sheet or a checklist that we'll make available as a download, either below or in a link below. So thanks everyone for listening, and thanks Leo for your time today. It was great to chat with you, and hopefully if the audience is interested or listeners are interested in getting in touch, I'm sure your details will be down below.
Thank you very much, Sam. Yeah, everyone is welcome to get in touch. I appreciate the opportunity. It was great to be here.